Hey everyone! Now, chances are you've heard of the coronavirus job retention scheme and furloughing. Who hasn't? But what exactly does it mean for you and what should you be aware of? Now, furloughing usually means temporary leave of absence from work. The government introduced this scheme to support employers such as you and other veterinary businesses who are severely affected by coronavirus. When you furlough a member of staff, they are kept on the payroll and they receive 80% of their salary, although you can choose to top this up to 100%. You as the employer claim 80% back then from the government as a grant, and the employee continues to get paid through the payroll as normal. So some key points to remember. Employees must be consulted and agree to being furloughed. It's absolutely essential, and that agreement should be signed and in writing. Employees that can agree to being furloughed are those working for the business that would otherwise have to be laid off, or you'd have to make part of the workforce redundant. Employees with care and responsibilities, or those who have been identified as extremely vulnerable due to health conditions, can also be furloughed, where the alternative would have been to lay them off or make them redundant. Now, people who get furloughed must not work for the employer during the period of furlough, although they can undertake training. And the minimum period an employee can be furloughed for is 3 weeks. And furloughed employees must have been on the employer's payroll on the 28th of February this year. For more information and more specific guidance, which has just been updated on the 4th of April, please visit the government website. But as normal employment laws such as the Equality Act 2010 apply when furloughing, I'm keen to talk to you about how we can all prevent discrimination and inequality when selecting employees to furlough. For example, choosing a disproportionate amount of men or women can easily be open us up for discrimination claims later on. So what steps can you take to ensure fairness when selecting an employee for furlough? Firstly, identify your critical workers. These are the people essential to service continuity and should be in line with the amount of work that you currently have. Ask for volunteers. You can always decline a volunteer if they are deemed a critical worker, such as the only person who can carry out essential tasks. You may find that those with underlying health conditions or those with care and responsibilities put themselves forward, and you may want to consider supporting these groups to enable them to meet the government recommendations. If you don't get enough volunteers, you may need to move on to the next step, which is selecting people for furlough. And this is where fairness is key, and you should be confident justifying your decisions, particularly against the Equality Act, for example. Now remember that the individual still needs to agree to being furloughed, and if they do not agree, you cannot go ahead, and you may need to consider redundancy instead of furlough, particularly if there's no other option. You can do selection objectively by using a competency matrix. This is where you list all the skills, knowledge and behaviours that are essential to keep the business going, populate it with each of your employees and tick off each of the competencies they hold. Now, I really recommend this as well because it can be helpful and very reassuring to ask another manager to do the same exercise and compare your results. Now, by doing so, you should have an objective, fair and reasonable decision on which employees to furlough. So in summary, ask for volunteers. If needed, complete a competency matrix to prioritise employees for furlough and get furloughed employees to sign an agreement. It is possible there may be cases where people become resentful that they're classified as essential and continue working while others receive money for not working for a period of time. Others may be upset at being furloughed, but remember, that the process of being furloughed can have a negative impact on mental health, and you still hold a duty of care for the well-being of your teams. So you should consider how you can improve this positively. This can all be avoided or minimized with transparency. Discuss the options with your team and explain the process you have gone through to make these choices. Lastly, remember, for more information, I highly recommend taking a look at the government guidance as updated on the 4th of April. Now, thank you for listening, and I hope you're all well and take care.